Welcome to Pressing Matters. I'm your host, Jamal Radio Raheem. Now, Pressing Matters is a vinyl show where I talk to vinyl collectors and I ask them 5 questions about vinyls. And then we just, see where the conversation goes. On this episode, I got my boy Mikey. Now, Mikey is a creator who I found on TikTok. He got some of the dopest mixes, you know what I'm saying? I had to have him on and have a conversation about his vinyl collection and just talk music in general. Enjoy the episode, and I'll catch you on the other side. Peace. So, what was your first vinyl purchase?
Okay. I'll give you like a little backstory, be really quick. So I just got on campus 2019 for college, right? And they had like this little multicultural fair thing going on in the quad, right? And there was this guy like had like a little flea market on wheels type thing, and he was selling a bunch of records. And at the time I did not have a record player, but I knew I wanted one at some point. I just saw that he had sold a bunch of records, and the first one I got was Anita Baker Rapture. I don't think you can hold on. Oop, nope. I don't think you can see it very well. But I had a picture of it because I don't have it with me right now.
Yeah.
It's with family in Maryland. But that was the first record I got. I tried to get they had Thriller there, but all the money I had that my parents had given me for, to keep
Yeah.
myself alive a little bit had ran out quite quickly. So the Anita Baker album, then I also got Isley Brothers Greatest Hits. Those were my first like two,
That's solid pickups.
right?
Those are some solid pickups.
So, I think I started off well.
Yeah, because most people, I still know people who can't even find Rapture. Like to this,
Really?
yeah. For me, it's available almost everywhere, but I know a
Hmm.
whole bunch of people who can't find it. I
Yeah,
think
I
because we're
never.
in big states, like we're in California. I'm in
Hmm.
California, you're in Texas. Like they're
Yeah,
big
yeah. So
states.
they're right,
You
right.
got options, but
I, I haven't checked to see if it's an original pressing. I haven't checked that yet, but I hope if it is, that'd be great.
I got that same album original pressing for like cheap. Like
Yeah.
not maybe $12.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it
It
wasn't
should be far more. Just the caliber of the album. You know what I mean?
no skips on that album.
Yeah.
So how do you feel about like buying bootlegs? And do you got any bootlegs?
I
Because
don't think I have any. Like I never considered bootlegs when it comes to vinyl. But when I think about like what vinyls I would want and which constantly go out of sale, like I would love a blonde, and I feel like at some point I'm just have to become comfortable with the idea that if I ever want it, it will probably have to be a bootleg. And I'm sure like other albums that are not on vinyl, I think I would be fine with, being a bootleg version. But it's never something that's crossed my mind, to be honest.
do you have like so say you were to buy a bootleg, do you have like
Mhm.
a price limit that you would like pay for a bootleg? Or are you just like whatever, I want it, I get it. Like
Mm, I probably wouldn't pay more than like $100 for any vinyl unless like any vinyl bootleg or otherwise I probably wouldn't pay more than $100 to be honest.
I mean that's 100 is pretty expensive, so
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's a fair like it would have to be like something that like I cannot live without if I don't get it.
yeah, because even like, because recently because I bought the Tyler album and I was
Hmm.
putting it on Discog and I was like, let me just see how much people are selling it for. Because I was
Right.
thinking like maybe I'll get it as a gift because like my
Hmm.
nieces is like, she's like getting into like music and like
Okay.
she likes Tyler the Creator.
Yeah.
I looked, I said, 120?
Oh my God.
The
It
album,
just
like,
came out. That's
it
crazy.
just came out. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, it's just gonna go up more. I'm like,
Right, right.
I'm like, yeah, nah, they're not getting this. Like,
That's insane.
she might get Igor instead.
Right, right, right.
We, because she texted me like the day the album came out and sent me a whole
Hmm.
bunch of links.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I know what you're like doing. Like,
Yeah.
I get it. I used to do
Hmm.
that. It's like, oh, okay, this is what you want for Christmas.
Right, right, exactly,
Let's
exactly.
look
Just
into prices.
little hints, little hints.
But I bought myself the album first. I was like,
Right, right. If anyone's
sorry.
gonna get it, it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
No.
So speaking of albums that you want pressed,
Hmm.
um, what albums do you want to be pressed or that you want to add to your collection? You can give me both. Like,
Okay. Ones that I want pressed. It's usually gonna be some form of like I would love more Tiny Desks to be pressed.
mm,
Anderson .Paak just released his Tiny Desk on vinyl, and I missed the sale, and now they're all sold out, and I'm sure they're going to be sold for crazy, amounts on Discogs or whatever. But I would love more Tiny Desks. Ones in particular, I love Shaka Khan's Tiny Desk. That was great. I would love that on
Mhm.
vinyl. What's another one? One that I listen to a lot. Probably Saba's Tiny Desk.
That's my favorite one.
Uh, that's a good one. I like the best I can do right now is just have them on local files on Spotify. So I don't have to keep going to YouTube to listen to them. But I think those anytime like a good portion of Tiny Desk I would love to have pressed. And then ones I would like to add to my collection, I need Songs in the Key of Life. Still don't have that yet. It's been driving me crazy because I don't want to buy it online, right?
Oh, okay.
I want to go in person, and the local record store near me doesn't have it. With that in mind too, Untitled Unmastered, I would love to have, and my local record store doesn't have it. So I need to start traveling more, get out of my city to go find it. But yeah, those are the two I want on my collection I can think of right now.
You haven't seen those two at the record store?
No, now, see, I keep going to my local one, and then when I'm out and about outside of my city, I don't go visit record stores. So I'm sure I could
Mhm.
probably find it. But the Untitled Master one, they were like, "Oh yeah, we're about to get a whole shipment of them in," and they were just like, "Oh, give us your number and we'll call you back." I've not received a call back. So, and I called back
Mm.
again, and they said they still don't have it. So, it's gonna be some traveling I have to do, but I'm sure it won't be too hard to find
I
either.
see I see Untitled Unmastered. I mean, granted, I'm in college, but I see that
Right,
one
right.
pretty often.
Mm,
They be taxing a little bit. I'm not
mm,
gonna hold you on that one. For
yeah.
that album though, because they just think people don't like understand.
Right, right.
But Songs in the Key of Life, I'm surprised. That one surprised me that because almost every record store I've been to have
Yeah,
had
has
that
it?
album.
Yeah.
And you're in Texas, so you can go like you
I
just
can
gotta
go.
travel one
Yeah.
weekend, just
Hmm.
go.
Yeah.
Because there's like what, Josie's? Y'all have Josie's?
I've heard of it. I
Josie's
think.
that's it's big because I know about
Mm.
it. That's how I know like and then I know Austin has some record stores
So
too.
it's in Dallas. So like, cause I'm in the DFW area, but I'm in McKinney, so it's like a 30-minute drive, 40-minute pushing it to get into like in Dallas. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
just that's gas and whatnot. But that's what you
Yeah,
do.
gas. Yeah, I get
Yeah.
that.
You know.
I didn't realize how far stuff was in Texas either
Yeah. Yeah.
until talked to a few people. I was like, oh, because I was assuming that like, oh, Dallas and Houston, they're just right there. It's like, oh, that's a 3 hour
Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm.
push.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, nah, we're not
Mm-mm-mm.
doing that.
Yeah.
So I don't like sitting in the car more than an hour.
Hmm.
I would
Yeah.
fly if I could.
Yeah.
But I guess what is your most expensive record in your collection then? Because you don't.
Um, I think I haven't looked at the price, but it can either be one or two, because they're box sets. So it's the Tame Impala Slow Rush.
Ooh.
My sister got that for me when I graduated. This has to be because it has four vinyls in here, and then it has like the B sides too, and like a 45. Was it 45? Is that what they call it? Yeah, 45 as well. If not that one, then my Awaken My Love. But when I'm really thinking about it, that one, just given how many vinyls are in it, it's probably gonna be the more expensive one. So I need to look at the price. That's what happens when I don't get a account on Discogs. But yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I only got a Discogs though. I don't know. Because some of the stuff
Hmm.
that I've seen on there, I'm like, y'all pricing it. Like I bought an album. It was a Stevie Wonder. It was hotter than July.
Hmm.
And I was like, what? Y'all $10? Like
Really?
I was like,
Uh.
I feel like that's weird
That's
to
a little
say
that's
Stevie
sketchy.
Wonder
Yeah.
$10.
Right.
But you should get an account for
Hmm.
Discog. Just well, I don't know. How do you feel about buying records online?
I mean, a good portion of the records I have been online. I'm trying to do more in person, but I mean, I got Chromacopia online. Last few vinyl purchases were online, so I'm not against it.
Discogs, to me, I think it's only worth it if you're like willing to buy records online.
Hmm.
I personally hate buying records online.
Okay. Hmm.
Um, I just like looking at people's collections
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
don't buy anything off of Discogs. I literally am nosy. That's why I got
Mm-hmm.
it to be nosy.
Right.
And like, oh, you got this in your collection? That's
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to buy stuff online, like you should get an account because you can find pretty much anything that you want.
Hmm.
But do you have certain albums that you want to get in person, or you just be like, I prefer in person, I can wait?
Yeah, the Songs in the Key of Life Untitled. That's the I'm gonna wait to get in person. What's some other ones? I'm not sure, but those two are the ones on the top of my mind that I've been thinking about constantly anytime I leave the house. Is like that's the two ones that I want to get, online in person. I mean, not online, in person, excuse
Yeah,
me.
in person. I'm surprised. I'm still surprised you haven't seen those in person. What records do you want to get like in person?
Yeah.
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, Songs of Key of Life Untitled. I would love to get My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. I'm sure those are not hard to find either, but I like to get that in person too. With the collection I have right now, I'm not really thinking of too many records I want to add on to it. I know in time I will, but I've never wanted my collection to be really big to
Mm.
begin with. So like a lot of the albums that I have are like ones that I really care about, really love. So I have like I think we're around the 25, 30 mark. So there's not a lot I want to add more, but I'm sure I'll think of some in the future.
Yeah, I need to sell a lot of mine
Mm,
because I'm way too much. Like I'm
okay.
looking at it right now and I'm like, this I'm
Mm.
like impulsive and that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Can you
then I'm looking,
guesstimate how many you have?
I I got like 430.
Okay. 430.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I've been
How long
also
you?
I've been collecting for almost 11 years.
Okay. Okay. So that's
So
reasonable.
yeah, I'm
That matches up.
32. Like I ain't
Okay.
just start doing it.
Right, 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 right. Okay.
Because when I first started,
Hmm.
records weren't like expensive as they are now.
Yeah.
So they just
Okay.
got expensive over the pandemic for me.
Hmm.
Like I got a DMX album for $5.
Okay. Wow.
I got Redman, the What album for $5.
Hmm.
Um, Late registration, I got cheap, like
Hmm.
15. I
Okay.
was getting stuff real cheap. So I was like,
Hmm.
oh, these are great albums that I'm getting,
Right, right,
and
right.
I'm not spending that much. But now I'm like, nah.
30, 40, 50
Yeah,
now. Yeah.
so now I'm more selective. But back when I
Hmm.
first started, I was like, I can get like 30 records and I'm only
Hmm.
spending $50. Like,
Right, right,
why
right.
not?
Yeah.
Like,
That sounds
so
like a good
it's
time to
it's
be living in.
insane. But it's
Yeah.
time to downsize because some of the albums I'm like, I don't really listen to.
Hmm.
Some of
Yeah.
them is like I just want to just get rid of them, to be honest.
Hmm.
Like I think I'm gonna give a lot to my nieces when
Okay.
they
That's good.
actually
Yeah.
like really want to start.
Hmm.
Here's some starter ones. Like
Yeah.
I got a couple copies of certain albums that people didn't know I had.
Hmm.
They gave me as gifts. Just get
Yeah.
ring of them.
Right, right, right.
It's like
Yeah.
being a hoarder. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Um, so if you're on a desert island, this question is
Hmm.
always hard.
Okay.
I was struggling. I'll try to do it myself. I was like, nah.
Hmm.
You only can take 5 albums of
Okay.
your collection.
Hmm.
What are the 5 albums? And if you can give me why, that would be even better. But
Okay. Okay. I got them right here. So I'm gonna start off with the first one. It's Thriller, specifically the 25th anniversary version. Backstory: this came out in 2007, the CD of it, and my parents had used that, or my dad had used that album or that 25th anniversary thing to introduce me to Michael Jackson. And so like, no, it came out in 2007. We bought it in 2008, and so they're like, Michael, we got to sit you down. We got to talk about Michael Jackson, one of the greatest artists to ever live. And they popped in this CD version of the album which had like all the music videos on it. So it had, Thriller
mm,
and Beat It or whatever. And so like that's just like a really personal, nostalgic album for me. And it has like remixes on it for the 25th anniversary version, with like Will I Am and Kanye. So I need this one. That's the number one. And then next one is gonna be Voodoo. I haven't checked Discogs much, but I think like this may be hard to find. I'm not sure because when I first purchased it, there wasn't a lot of copies left on Amazon, and it also has like it's a white color pressing, so
no.
I'm not sure if that's rare or not. But I started listening to this album like late 2022, and it was just like when I think about my last year, like on my college campus, this is what I think about is this album right here. So, just really nostalgic for me, which is crazy to say nostalgic because it happened 2 years ago. So I don't know why I'm saying nostalgic, but um. And then Daft Punk, Random Access Memories.
I need that one.
Love this album so much. Now, this is actually nostalgia because I was listening to this when it came out back in 2013. I adore this album. I cry every day with the fact that like Daft Punk is no longer, active anymore. I was hoping that they were going to release an album after this one, but for that to be their last album is, fantastic. And then, all right, that's three so far, yeah.
Hmm.
Then we got Stevie Wonder, original Musicarium. Is that how you say it? Yeah, Musicarium. If I had Songs of Key to Life, it would replace this one on my desert island, right? But I mean, it's Stevie regardless, so I'm gonna bring
Yeah.
some Stevie with me. Yeah, and my dad got this for me after he got my record player for me. He bought it for me, so yeah. And then I showed this one earlier, but Awaken My Love, love this album to death. Because I was a big Gambino fan at the time. But to hear this album was such a crazy switch. I think for most people, it was such a crazy switch from
Oh
what he was doing
yeah.
before. And I've like fallen in love with it. I wanted to see it in concert when he was performing it, but I was like, when this come out? I was like 15 when this came out, so it just wasn't gonna happen. But I love that album to death. And yeah, that's my top five right there.
You
Okay.
make me feel old. You said nostalgic for voodoo. I'm like, damn.
Right, right.
I'm like, hmm.
Yeah.
But voodoo I haven't found. So in
Okay.
person at least.
Mm.
I found it online, but I hate buying online.
Right,
So
right, right.
the Awaken My Love box set I also haven't seen in person.
Mm.
So I don't know where the hell they getting these albums or you getting
Yeah.
these albums. Because
Yeah.
all of those ones that you just showed, I've
Mm.
only seen the Stevie one in person.
Okay, yeah.
Um, but even then, the one I saw in person was like really old and like they were like it was in a bargain bin. You can tell it probably didn't work. Had like
Mm.
scratches all on it.
Right, right, right.
But yeah, that's solid. That's a solid,
Yeah.
you know.
Um, Actually, now that I think about it, because that Thriller album is the 25th anniversary, that might be a bootleg because I mean, it didn't sell a bunch of copies when it was first released back in like 2008. And we didn't find it in person. My mom, because my mom purchased it for my for Christmas, for me. And when we first ordered it, they just gave us the regular version, just Thriller itself. And so she had to like push to get the 25th anniversary. So now that I think about it, it might be a bootleg.
I don't think
So,
that's a bootleg because they were releasing like CDs of that, the vinyl. I remember
mm,
when like it came out. So they were
okay.
doing that. So
Oh, with
I
vinyl too,
don't
because I just knew the
yeah.
CD was sold. Okay.
So I don't think it's a bootleg. I mean,
Mm,
there's bootlegs of everything, but I
yeah.
don't think that's a bootleg because they
Okay.
have that. They have it of a lot of albums. And that's another thing I would say for you.
Mm,
When like certain albums are like hitting like 20 years or 10 years,
mm,
they press a whole bunch of those albums.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
So if you're ever like, oh, I want this album, it's been out for like 10 years,
Mm,
they're going to have it because like they always have like a 10-year
right,
anniversary.
right, right.
They'll have like a special edition and then they'll have the regular edition.
Mm,
I personally don't really care about certain albums like getting a special edition. I'm like, you
mm,
guys want to hear
yeah.
it?
Right, right.
So you can do that.
Mm,
They're always there.
yeah, yeah.
But what shop the before we get out of here, what
Mm.
shop do you like the shop you go? Is it a bigger shop or is it like a mom and pop? Like,
It's a mom and pop. It's a small one in like my downtown area of my city. And it opened like 4 or 5 years ago. It's quite small. Like it's a really tight
mm,
space. You can only like you got a little small area right here and then a small area right here. So it's a pretty small place.
okay, I was about to say that's
Yeah.
probably why.
It's hard to find all the stuff. They have like a good amount of old records and they have like a lot of new stuff constantly. But the ones I'm looking for, they just, don't have. So I gotta get on my bubble, I guess.
Do you have a list of records you want?
I haven't written down a list. I think I had one before the ones that I currently have. I think I had a lot of these on my list. So I haven't written down a list. Like I haven't like let's let me think. So because what I'll usually do is if I'm in that downtown area, I'll just go visit and see is there anything I would like to pick up, right? I haven't like written down a list in a while, so I haven't really been thinking about vinyl purchasing too much recently. So
I see there's like by me, there's literally so many shops in
mm,
like just this area. Cause San
yeah.
Jose.
Hmm.
is huge. Like I
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
like a
Yeah.
lot of people they don't recognize it because they don't hear about San Jose. You always hear about like
Hmm.
San Francisco,
Right. Right.
Oakland. San
Hmm.
Jose is huge.
Hmm.
So within like 25 minutes, I have four shops.
Wow. Okay. That's
So
not my case at all.
yeah, like
Hmm.
I can walk to one. It's like a 20-minute walk.
Hmm. That's not bad.
And then I have one that's if you're driving, you just literally just go like 5 minutes.
Hmm. Hmm.
They have like mostly CDs, but like their
Okay.
record collection's good too. There's one that's literally just nothing but old school.
Hmm.
Like they have nothing new. Like
Right.
the owner, I think he just wants to, he's a small,
Once to get rid of some of them.
no, he just, I
Okay.
don't think he just seems like the type who doesn't listen to any music that came
Mm.
out past 1999. Like
Okay. Yeah.
there's nothing in there past 1999, and you can
Mm.
tell. Like so, even the posters on the wall, like they're like
Hmm.
old
Right.
ass posters.
Right. Right.
There's one spot if you're ever in San Jose
Mm.
called Needle to the Groove.
Neato to the groove.
That spot
Hmm.
is that's if I'm going to get a record, if I'm looking for something in particular,
Hmm.
I go there because they have stuff that like you wouldn't think they would have.
Yeah.
And they're like smaller. They have their own record label, like,
Hmm.
and they have it organized so well. You're like, oh, it's like they have 80s hip hop,
Uh,
90s hip hop,
yeah.
2000s hip hop. Like it's organized super well. So,
Hmm.
but do you have anything you want to leave the people with? You're
Anything I want
gonna
to leave the
get back to
people
doing
with.
the mixes because you know we miss the mixes.
I haven't made one in so long. I need to get back on that. Anything to leave out with? Eat your vegetables, clean your room, and floss before you brush your teeth. I've always flossed after I brush my teeth. I just learned that you're supposed to do it before, so there's that tip
Are
right
you
there.
supposed to do it before? I always do it
Yeah,
after.
I thought so. I thought it was after, but I've been hearing from like my dad. He talked to his dentist. I heard some TikTok. They're like, "Oh, you're supposed to floss before you whatever." So to like get the gunk out before you just clean your gums with the
That
toothbrush.
actually kind of makes
So
sense.
yeah, so I've been trying to get into that routine.
But thank you for being on.
Of course.
And I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.
Thank you for having me.